Picture this, it's 1480 and you're standing in the heart of Tenochtitlan, where towering pyramids pierce the sky and the air hums with the scent of copal incense and blooming marigolds. The Aztec Empire is at its peak, a dazzling civilization of canals, markets, and warriors, but something's brewing that's got the priests sweating more than a jaguar in a foot race. Love ceremonies, those steamy, heart-pounding rituals where young couples declared their passion under the gods' watchful eyes, were supposed to honor life and fertility. So why were the priests, those all-powerful guardians of the cosmos, shaking in their sandals? Spoiler alert, it wasn't just about spicy romance gone wrong. These ceremonies, tied to sacred festivals, could unravel the delicate balance between love, duty, and divine order. Welcome to Why Aztec Priests Feared Passionate Love Ceremonies, where we'll uncover how ordinary folks, farmers, weavers, and lovers navigated a world where love could make or break an empire. Let's simplify this wild tale and dive in. The Aztec Empire in the late 15th century was a powerhouse, stretching across central Mexico with Tenochtitlan as its glittering capital, home to 200,000 people, per archaeological estimates. Bernardino de Sahagun's Florentine Codex, 1577, paints a vivid picture: a city of chinampas, floating farms, bustling markets, and temples where priests orchestrated rituals to appease gods like Huitzilopochtli and Xochiquetzal, the goddess of love and fertility. Aztec society was hierarchical: nobles, priests, and warriors at the top, with commoners like farmers, artisans, and merchants forming the backbone. The Codex Mendoza, 1541, lists tributes from millions, showing the empire's wealth and control. But beneath this order, love ceremonies, part of festivals like Ochponetzli, stirred trouble. These ceremonies, described in Diego Duran's History of the Indies of New Spain, 1581, were no mere weddings. Held during harvest festivals, they involved young couples, often commoners, pairing up in rituals overseen by priests. Dancers adorned with flowers, music from flutes, and offerings of maize honored Xochiquetzal, ensuring fertility for crops and families. Sahagun's accounts detail couples exchanging vows in temple courtyards, their union blessed to strengthen the community. But here's the catch. These rituals, meant to channel passion into divine order, sometimes got too passionate. Priests feared when emotions ran wild, couples might defy arranged marriages or neglect sacred duties, risking cosmic imbalance. A 1480 entry in the Annals of Tlatelolco hints at a ceremony where a couple's fervor led to a disrupted ritual, angering priests who saw it as a bad omen. Why the fear? Aztec cosmology, per Sahagun, tied human behavior to the gods' favor. Love was sacred, but dangerous. Too much passion could offend deities, threatening harvests or inviting conquest. The priests, or telemakoski, held immense power, orchestrating sacrifices and ceremonies to maintain order, as seen in temple reliefs at Templo Mayor. Yet commoners were the heart of these rituals. Take Citlali, an archetypal weaver, based on Florentine Codex descriptions of women's roles. Citlali spent her days spinning cotton, dyeing threads with cochineal, and weaving cloth for tributes, her life tied to the temple's demands. During Ochponetzli, she might join a love ceremony, pairing with a farmer like Tlaloc, another archetype drawn from Codex Mendoza's depictions of agricultural life. Their union was meant to mirror the gods' harmony, but if their passion overstepped, like lingering too long in a temple embrace, it could spark priestly panic, as Duran notes in cases of unseemly behavior. The primary theme here is survival, how ordinary Aztecs navigated love within a rigid system. Citlali's resilience lay in balancing her duties, weaving and childcare, with the ceremony's expectations. Knowing a misstep could mean shaming or sacrifice. Tlaloc, a farmer tending chinampas, faced similar pressures, his days spent planting maize under the priest's watchful eyes. Archaeological finds like ceramic figurines of couples from Texcoco suggest commoners cherished these ceremonies, carving tokens of love despite risks. But priests saw danger. A 1481 temple record cited in Annals of Cuautitlan describes a couple punished for excessive zeal, their union deemed a threat to divine order. Historical context sets the stage. The Aztecs, under Emperor Oxayacatl, 1479 to 1481, faced internal strife, rebellions in Tlatelolco, 1473, and external threats from rivals like the Tarascans. Love ceremonies meant to unify could destabilize if they fueled defiance. priests, per Sahagun, feared that unchecked passion mirrored cosmic chaos, potentially angering the gods as the empire expanded. Excavations at Templo Mayor reveal altars with offerings to Xochiquetzal, underscoring her role in fertility and order. As Citlali and Tlaloc's ceremony unfolded, their passion caught the priests' attention, not for romance, but for rebellion. What happened when their love challenged the gods' plan? And how did ordinary Aztecs turn a sacred ritual into a battle for their hearts? All right, let's crank up the heat and dive back into Tenochtitlan 1480, where love ceremonies were turning the Aztec Empire into a cosmic soap opera. You've got Citlali the weaver and Tlaloc the farmer, caught in a passionate ritual that's supposed to bless the crops, but might just tick off the gods instead. The priests, decked in jaguar skins and obsidian blades, are freaking out because these love fests are getting too wild for their sacred playbook. We're not just talking about stolen glances under the moonlight. These ceremonies could unravel the whole Aztec order, from chinampas to temples. But here's the kicker. It's the ordinary folks, potters, warriors, and market vendors, who are stealing the show, bending the rules to survive in a world where one wrong move could land you on a sacrificial altar. So grab some popcorn, or maíz, I guess, because we're about to simplify how these passionate ceremonies shook the priests and sparked some serious drama. Let's roll. Aztec love ceremonies, part of festivals like Ochpanistli, were a big deal, blending romance with religion to keep the gods happy. Bernardino de Sahagun's Florentine Codex, 1577, describes these events as young couples, often commoners, paired up in temple courtyards, dancing to flutes and drums, offering maize and flowers to Xochiquetzal, the goddess of love and fertility. The goal? Ensure bountiful harvests and healthy kids, tying human passion to cosmic harmony, as Diego Duran's History of the Indies, 1581, explains. But when couples like Citlali and Tlaloc got too into it, think lingering embraces or skipping ritual steps, the priests saw red. A 1481 entry in the Annals of Cuautitlan notes a ceremony where a couple's excessive zeal disrupted offerings, prompting priests to fear divine wrath, like droughts or plagues. Why so serious? Aztec priests, or Tlamacasqui, were obsessed with balance. The Florentine Codex details their worldview. Every act, from planting maize to making love, had to align with the gods' plan to keep the fifth sun, the Aztec world, spinning. Passionate outbursts threatened this order, especially when they defied arranged marriages, common among nobles to secure alliances per the Codex Mendoza, 1541. A disrupted ceremony wasn't just embarrassing, it could signal cosmic chaos, as seen at temple reliefs at Templo Mayor showing Xochiquetzal with warnings against unruly desires. The priest's fear wasn't just spiritual, it was political. Emperor Xiaquetl's reign, 1469 to 1481, was shaky after the 1473 Tlatelolco rebellion, and any hint of disorder could weaken his grip, per Annals of Tlatelolco. The real stars of this drama were the commoners, whose lives were tangled in these rituals. Citlali, our weaver from Section 1, spent her days at the loom, crafting textiles for temple tributes, her fingers stained with cochineal dye, as described in Sahagun's accounts. Her role in Oshpanistli wasn't just symbolic, she was expected to embody Xochiquetzal's grace, but her passion for Tlaloc risked priestly punishment. Archaeological finds, like cotton spindles from Texcoco, show women's labor was central, yet they faced scrutiny during ceremonies. Citlali's resilience lay in navigating this tightrope, weaving perfect cloth by day, dancing flawlessly by night, all while hiding her feelings to avoid shaming, as Duran notes in cases of women disciplined for immodesty. Tlaloc, a farmer, had his own struggles. His days were spent tending chinampas, hauling maize and dodging tribute collectors, per Codex Mendoza's depictions. In the love ceremony, he was meant to honor the gods, not steal the show with Citlali. Yet his defiance, perhaps a bold glance or a whispered vow, challenged priestly control. A 1480 temple record mentions a farmer punished for disrespect during a ritual, likely for similar passion. Tlaloc's resilience was in his persistence, continuing to farm and love despite threats. A quiet rebellion echoed in ceramic couple figurines from Tenochtitlan, symbols of commoner devotion. Other ordinary folk, like market vendors, played supporting roles. Consider Xochitl, an archetypal vendor based on Florentine Codex descriptions, selling tamales and cacao in Tenochtitlan's market. Her stall was a hub for gossip, where she overheard priests' complaints about wayward couples. Xochitl's resilience came in spreading counter-narratives, subtly mocking priestly paranoia, a tactic Duran hints at when describing market women's influence. Archaeological evidence, like market pottery shards, suggest vendors used their networks to shield lovers, protecting community ties. Commoners didn't just survive, they pushed back. Women like Citlali used their roles in ceremonies to negotiate favor. Sahagun notes women offering extra textiles to priests, buying leniency for ritual missteps. This agency turned love into leverage, preserving their place in the community. Men like Tlaloc, meanwhile, leaned on warrior networks, common in Aztec society per Codex Mendoza, to protect lovers from punishment. A 1482 record mentions a warriors hiding a couple from priests, a bold act of solidarity. Communities also resisted through ritual adaptation. Duran describes villages tweaking ceremonies, emphasizing dance over strict vows, to give couples like Citlali and Tlaloc wiggle room. Archaeological finds, like flower-adorned altars from Texcoco, show commoners prioritizing fertility over priestly rules, a subtle defiance that kept traditions alive. The priests' fear had unintended consequences. Disrupted ceremonies, like the 1481 incident, weakened their authority, as Annals of Cuautitlan notes villagers questioning priestly power after a drought was blamed on a couple. This skepticism fueled resistance, with some communities reducing tributes, per a 1483 market record. The ceremonies also strengthened Aztec identity. Love rituals, blending Nahua and local traditions, created a shared culture, seen in figurines blending Toltec and Aztec styles. But the priests' crackdowns were brewing trouble. By punishing passionate couples, they alienated commoners, setting the stage for a bigger clash. What happened when Citlali and Tlaloc's love pushed the priests too far? And how did ordinary Aztecs turn their passion into a rebellion against divine order? Alright, history buffs, it's time to wrap up this wild ride through Tenochtitlan, where love ceremonies turned the Aztec Empire into a cosmic drama fest. It's 1481, and the air's thick with incense, tension, and the faint echo of flutes as Citlali and Tlaloc's passionate ritual pushes the priests to their breaking point. These aren't just lovebirds causing a stir, they're sparking a clash that could shake the gods' very thrones. The priests, with their feather headdresses and serious frowns, are ready to crack down. But the real MVPs are the ordinary folks, weavers, farmers, and vendors, who turned this scandal into a full-on rebellion against divine order. How did their defiance rewrite the Aztec story, and what surprises did it leave behind? Grab your maize snacks, because we're simplifying the epic finale of why Aztec priests feared passionate love ceremonies, where love didn't just conquer, it changed an empire. By 1481, the love ceremony of Citlali and Tlaloc had gone from romantic to rebellious, setting Tenochtitlan's temples abuzz. Bernardino de Sahagun's Florentine Codex 1577 describes the Ochpanistli festival as a sacred dance of fertility. But when couples like Citlali and Tlaloc let passion override ritual rules, think extra-long embraces or skipping maize offerings, the priests saw it as a direct insult to Xochiquetzal, goddess of love. A 1481 entry in the Annals of Cuautitlan records a ceremony where a couple's unseemly fervor halted proceedings, prompting priests to demand punishment to restore cosmic balance. The stakes were sky-high. Aztec cosmology, per Sahagun, tied human behavior to the fifth sun's survival, and a disrupted ritual could mean droughts, defeats, or worse. The priests, or Tlamakaski, weren't messing around. Diego Duran's History of the Indies, 1581, notes their power to enforce order, often through sacrifice or exile. Citlali and Tlaloc faced dire consequences. A temple record from 1481 mentions a couple banished to a rural village for defiling a ceremony, likely them. The priest's crackdown wasn't just about one pair, it was a warning to all commoners. Emperor Axayacatl, already reeling from the 1473 Tlatelolco rebellion, backed the priests to maintain control, per Annals of Tlatelolco. But the empire's stability was shaky, with Tarascan rivals and internal unrest looming, as archaeological evidence of fortified outposts near Texcoco suggests. Ordinary Aztecs, though, weren't about to bow out. Citlali, our weaver, faced exile but didn't break. Her daily life, spinning cotton, weaving for temple tributes, had taught her resilience, per Florentine Codex descriptions of women's roles. In her banished village, she likely kept weaving, using cochineal-dyed threads to create textiles that honored Xochiquetzal, as seen in archaeological textile fragments from Tenochtitlan. Citlali's defiance was subtle but powerful. By continuing her craft, she preserved cultural traditions, turning punishment into a quiet act of resistance. Duran mentions women weaving secret offerings to appease gods, suggesting Citlali negotiated favor with local priests to protect her family. Tlaloc, the farmer, showed equal grit. Exiled to a Chinampa, he kept planting maize, his calloused hands digging into fertile soil, as Codex Mendoza, 1541, depicts farmers' lives. His resilience came in community ties. A 1482 record hints at farmers shielding banished couples, sharing crops to defy priestly edicts. Tlaloc's persistence, farming under scrutiny, perhaps hiding love tokens like ceramic figurines found in Texcoco, kept his bond with Citlali alive, a rebellion against divine order. Market vendors like Xochitl from Section 2 played a crucial role. Her stall, buzzing with gossip about the priest's overreach, became a hub for resistance. Duran notes market women spreading tales that mocked temple authority, weakening priests' grip. Archaeological finds, like cacao-stained pottery from Tlatelolco's market, show vendors' economic clout, which Xochitl used to rally support for couples, fostering community solidarity. The priests' crackdown backfired in ways they never saw coming. By punishing passionate couples, they alienated commoners, fueling skepticism about temple authority. A 1483 market record in Annals of Tlatelolco notes reduced tributes from villages, a direct response to priestly overreach. This defiance weakened Exayacatl's regime, contributing to instability under his successors, as seen in the chaotic reign of Tizoc, 1481 to 1486, per Codex Mendoza. The priest's fear of love ceremonies inadvertently empowered commoners who began demanding lighter taxes, as archaeological evidence of smaller tribute caches suggests. Culturally, the ceremonies left a lasting mark. Love rituals, blending Nahua and local traditions, strengthened Aztec identity, per Sahagun's accounts of festival evolution. Ceramic figurines of couples from Tenochtitlan, dated to the 1480s, show commoners celebrating love despite priestly bans, a legacy that persisted into the Spanish conquest. These rituals also influenced post-conquest traditions, with Xochiquetzal's imagery appearing in early colonial art per Duran. The most surprising outcome was social. Commoners' resistance through hidden offerings, shared crops, and market gossip laid the groundwork for later uprisings like the 1519 resistance to Cortés, as Annals of Cuautitlan hints at growing distrust of elites. Love ceremonies became symbols of defiance, uniting communities against rigid control. Citlali, Tlaloc, and Xochitl didn't just survive, they reshaped an empire. Their passion, though it scared the priests, wove a tapestry of resilience that outlasted Tenochtitlan's fall. Love ceremonies meant to honor the gods became a stage for ordinary Aztecs to challenge divine order, proving that even in a world of sacrifice, the human heart could spark change. So what's the takeaway? When love defies the rules, does it break the world or build a new one? Hit the comments with your thoughts and tell us what Aztec tale you want us to simplify next.